Greetings, fellow carbon-based life forms. We're back making another tune. I was just going through my voice memos and I came across this little riff that's kind of like... And I think that I want to try to build that into more of a song. So I'll see you guys back in a second once I figure out the next step of either building some guitar loops around that or making a modular patch or whatever that looks like. So see you in a second. All right, so I messed around with that initial riff for a while and came up with kind of a harmony part to play on top of it. So the first bit was... And then I switched over to playing it up a third. Or sort of up a third. I couldn't get all the harmonics to be exactly thirds, but I just tried to find something that sounded pretty good. And then I switched on the warped vinyl here and flipped it over to the bridge pickup to do kind of a... sort of a staccato rhythm thing. So I'm gonna hit play on the looper. I'll show you guys what those three layers sound like together. And then I think we're gonna bop over to the modular case and try to patch something up that is complementary to that guitar loop. So here we go. Okay, so I'm back with the modular case. Took a break to mow the lawn, but I came back and have been patching the Subharmonicon a little bit to come up with some accompaniment to that initial kind of guitar loop I was working with. So I'll let you guys hear the initial patch. Pretty sparse, without any effects. So I'm going to turn on some delay. So what I've got going on here, I'm just using the two onboard sequencers to drive the two different VCOs, and I tuned the subs into pitches that I think sound pretty good, along with that riff. And then really the only other thing I'm doing is using the LFO from the Mavis to move the filter cutoff around a little bit. And yeah, that's pretty much it for what I'm going to do with the modular in this first pass, I think. I'm just going to try to perform a little bit on like the volume and filter cutoff in between the guitar loops. Or maybe I'll use an expression pedal to be able to do that a little bit more easily. So I feel good about this for now. I'm going to try to lay down a take that I like of guitar and Subharmonicon, and then I'll see you guys in a minute with whatever I decide to do next, which is probably going to be bass and more synth. So, cool. See you there. Alright guys, I'm back. I got a take that I liked pretty well of the guitar playing and that Subharmonicon patch that I showed. So now I'm trying to figure out what I want to do for kind of the second layer of stuff. If you guys are just tuning in, I have been trying to do all the pieces of music for this series as basically like 3 takes with myself. So yeah, in this second kind of layer, I have a lot of different stuff going on, a lot of multitasking, and a lot of happy accidents with the modular. Today was one of the days when it was kind of kind to me. So I'll talk through those ideas. I'm using the Mavis, the DFAM, and the Matriarch in this next layer, and the bass. So I'll talk through each of those in order. I'm running the Mavis and the DFAM out into the Empress ecosystem for some delay. And I'll show you first the Mavis. This is actually the patch that I was using in the last video that I did. It's kind of like a 5/8 clave pattern thing. Sounds like this. And I just honestly was checking the levels on the case and turned that back up and was like, oh, that sounds pretty cool. So I decided to kind of use that as a textural element. And then similarly, the DFAM is also almost the same patch that I used 2 videos ago. So if you want to see about like the oscillator tuning specifically and how I'm using the quantizer, you can check that video out. But since I'm playing in the same key for all these pieces, I just punched some notes into the quantizer that sounded good. I didn't have to retune my oscillators or anything, and I ended up with this. So that's playing kind of like a dotted quarter rhythm or something like that. And I just felt like that created a really cool textural space. So I'm gonna bring those layers up first, and then I'm gonna switch to playing a melody on the Matriarch, which is going into a looper. So I can play a melody and then switch over to playing bass. So that's kind of like... something like that is what I'm gonna loop. And I'm actually using a trick where I will oftentimes record like an empty dummy loop in the blooper, and then I don't know if you can see, but on the floor here I have an expression pedal to control the layers. More info on that in the last video if you want to see how to do that. So then I can kind of control that melody with my feet while I'm playing bass. So yeah, those are kind of the 4 different layers I'm going to try to do all in this next take. And I think my only other idea for what I'm going to do in the last take is obviously play drums, and then I think I'm going to actually maybe take a MIDI controller over with me to the drum set, hook that up to the Matriarch, because I feel like there's maybe a hole in the beginning of the piece where there's not really any bass frequencies right now, because I'm going to be doing modular case more first and then bringing in the bass guitar. But I was realizing on the drums, I think I'm just going to do like hi-hat chicks at first, keep it pretty spacious, and so I probably have a free hand to play some bass notes. So we'll see if I can get that together as well. Sweet.